Do you love guns? Hi, Gene Kelly here, and I've always been passionate about firearms. I started gunsmithing and went to gunsmithing school when I was just 18. I've been a professional gunsmith for over 40 years now, and I'm a licensed Class II manufacturer. I've been teaching gunsmithing since 1993. Now, we started the Gunsmithing Club of America 15 years ago to create a place where people who shared our passion, both professionals and hobbyists, could find reliable, trusted information on real-world gunsmithing. We wanted to provide a place where our instructors could continuously teach our members, where both hobbyists and professional gunsmiths could share their experience and learn from each other. It's to be a trusted community with reliable information. We knew that it would be an extremely powerful resource and tool to preserve our gunsmithing knowledge, provide our members with an enjoyable experience, and as a place that actually protects our firearms freedoms by keeping our guns functioning properly. As a member of the GCA, you'll have access to over 400 hours of gunsmithing instruction and techniques on video, all by qualified instructors who are masters in the field. You will receive our monthly Gun Tech video magazine and print magazine. Plus, the GCA members' website contains almost 200 extremely detailed firearm disassembly and reassembly video courses, hundreds of product reviews, firearms evaluations, and industry interviews. The Gunsmithing Club of America is a one-of-a-kind organization. There's no other club or group specifically dedicated to the art, craft, and profession of gunsmithing. As a hobbyist or a professional, you'll find that this is your source for the knowledge you need. So feed your passion about guns and gunsmithing by being a member in a community of like-minded individuals. If this sounds like you, join us today.
I'm about to show you a solution that you didn't know existed for a problem I don't think you knew you had. All right? This is a Light Rider center mass laser from the folks at Laser Light. Now, what is it and why do you need it? Okay. What this does is, rather than having a single dot, now this goes on the underside of your handguard or on either your AR or your shotgun. It's got to go on a Picatinny rail. If you've got an 870 pump, some of those have the Picatinny rail on the side of the rail, side of the pump, and then the 1100s and all the rest of those types of shotguns all come with front handguards with rails. Any event, that goes on there, and when you've got it up like this, now that thumb doesn't work too well because of that injury, but if you press the button here momentarily, you'll see the light comes on. If you press it twice, you notice it stays on. All right, now let me show you exactly. All right, now let me show you what this actually does and why you need it. You whip this back casually over my shoulder here. You'll notice it isn't just one big red dot. It's a series of dots in a circle around a center dot. Okay, now why do you need that? When you use a laser on a pistol or on an AR or something like that, it's handy if it's somewhere where you can't see the rest of that, but if you're trying to swing it, it's an awful lot faster rather than trying to track a laser onto your target, a little dot onto your target, to just point the gun at the target and pull the trigger. You're not looking to see where the laser goes. If you get a great big massive dot or something like that, well, then you don't have a fine aiming point if it's some distance out, like 50, 60 yards away. Well, this solves that problem. You got a fine dot in the center, and then you got this pattern of dots around it. But it does something else. For every yard away it gets from the front of this laser, that pattern grows an inch. So at 10 yards away, that pattern's 10 inches. At 30 yards away, it's 30 inches. Well, what else is about 30 inches in diameter 30 yards away? How about a charge from your shotgun? All right? Well, if you want to know where the charge, your buckshot, or anything else is pretty in general going to go at the particular distance, as long as you've got your target surrounded by that circle of dots, you're going to raise mayhem in the center. So that's awfully cool. I'd seen them before, and I thought, you know what, I kind of like that. And I tried it on my AR. It's actually got a forend, which is in here, that I can lock it onto. And I found it was really fast, particularly if you were in a position where, you couldn't actually get behind the gun to look at it, which is where they're really handy. So you don't have to stick your gorgeous puss out there in the line of fire. You can just put the gun out there and see what's going on. Any event, these are anywhere from $149. I got this one from Amazon for $89, something, probably $90, pretty close, with free shipping. Now, it also comes with 3 additional 357 batteries, which are cool to have. And besides your adjusting wrench, and of course it has your standard, put it over here, adjustment on this side and on the top for windage and elevation, so you can move that around. And then you've got the larger wrench that goes for the clamp that clamps it onto your Picatinny rail. And how cool is that? Now, I know you're not like me, but I have lost more than my share of these itty-bitty, teeny, tiny little black nuts. Well, at least they knew I was going to be buying this because they sent me an extra one. So I think that's pretty great. I think it makes a really good sense, particularly like a home defense gun. And I am a big fan of a home defense shotgun that uses number 8 birdshot, because at household distances, it doesn't make any difference whether you hit them with a pattern this big or this big. It might as well be a slug, and those hundreds of little dots are really difficult to pick out of the wounds, and you don't have to worry about it passing through and going into the next room where your wife and kids may be, or even if you shoot and you hit drywall, that front drywall slows it down, scatters it in the back. It may get through there, but it is not lethal, though it may sting. So I think there is a big advantage. It is absolutely lethal on first impact on a soft target at any kind of range in the house, but behind any kind of cover or even concealment in this case, it's handy. So something like this I think is terrific. It gets you away from the notion that, oh, it's a shotgun, all I have to do is point it in the general direction, because after the cloud of shot really fills the room, and it doesn't. On the other side of the room, it's about that big around, and that's good to know. So the Light Rider center mass laser from Laser Light. Well, in the vein of you shouldn't leave home without it, because there's no reason why you should, this is a grip plug takedown tool for Glocks. It's from Vickers Tactical and came from Tango Down. Well, there it is. And it's got your 3/32 Glock punch. You can punch your pins out, whoopee, and you can put them back in. And all you do is put it, right there in the back of your Glock. And when your magazine goes in, it just sits right there and sits flush. Now, how cool is that? You've always got it with you. If you need to take it apart, there are better tools for using it to bench all day. But for when you're out in the field somewhere and you got a problem and you don't have your workbench with you, there's no reason you shouldn't have this. $12.95, $12.95. Buy one. Well, let's say that you're me. You're not, but let's say you were. And you might have a half dozen or so different muzzle brakes or compensators that you want to test on ARs or flash suppressors or whatever it may be. But you're in a position where you may be changing these in and out with some fair frequency on the same gun. Well, there's really a couple of major ways that people deal with this. You use crush washers and you arm that thing on until it spreads it out and you get it where you want it. Well, that crush washer is done at that point. It's only going to work for that one break and nothing else. And it's going to be difficult to unscrew because now you've mashed it down. It's not going to want to come off over the threads. Been there, done that. The other thing is peel washers. Well, once you peel the washers off enough to get it in and you crank it down and then shoot the gun a few times, it gets hot and those things sort of weld together. So that's kind of a one-trick pony. There is another way, I can't think of the name of the company right off the top of my head at the moment, but they give you a bag of washers that are several thousandths difference, and you get like 20 different washers. And since you're dealing with one of two things normally, which is 5/8 by 24 thread for 30 calibers and stuff of that nature, or 1/2 by 28 for 22s. It's a certain number. So depending on how far off, if your compensator is here and you want it to be here, that's X number of degrees that it needs to go around to tighten to that point or back off. Well, by looking it up there, number of degrees, it'll tell you what number, which washer to use, put it on there, and boom, comes right up. Of course, the other thing you can do is just machine off the back of your compensators, but that's a little rough if it has to go on a different gun, or you may want to be returning it to whoever loaned it to you for test purposes. All right, well, what do? A couple of things to look at here. From Wing Tactical, for $12.95, you get two different size jam nuts here. Now, they're 1/2 by 28 for 22s, and they're 5/8 by 24 for 30s. Well, how does this work? Well, what you do is you thread this on. That's assuming that your hands are working properly, and that'll thread up over the end there. Now, it'll actually go so far that it gets down in that relief, so you don't want to go that far. So come up about here. Now, you go ahead and thread your muzzle brake or compensator on. Now, a lot of these aren't tapered, so it'll look a little better, but since this is kind of a temporary expedient anyway, it doesn't make any difference that these don't exactly match. So you get it where you want it, and then what you have is essentially a jam nut. You hold this with a wrench and you tighten this against it, it jams the two together, and it locks it up wherever you want to go. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. What does it look like with one that's actually straight? Well, you notice that this is pretty much the same, so that doesn't look so odd, but it works exactly the same way. You clamp those two together and you tighten them up together, and they don't go anywhere. All right, cool, not bad. And you take them off, and bingo, presto, changeo, you can use it on the next one pretty fast. All right, what else do we have here? We have the washers. Now, okay, as I said, the washers, you get one, which essentially clocks you up a 1/2 turn, and then you get 8. So what do we have? We have one, which is 180 degrees of rotation, or basically a 1/2 turn. We have 8 that are 45 degrees, and then we have one which is an unspecified amount less, which allows you to do the final cleanup. All right, let's try this out. First of all, I'm going to thread this on, and let's see where it lands without it. Now, I've got a good idea since it came off of here, but we'll prove it. See where it ends up without a wrench. Well, that actually clocks up perfectly. So a little bit more torque on there, and that absolutely covers it. Let's take this off. And just out of idle curiosity, let's see where we land if it is in fact 180 degrees out of phase. When we crank this on here, we're just checking to see if they understand. Well, yep, there's the bottom right here, and if you were to torque it more, you'd bring that sucker right around in line. Okay, so anyway, that's how that works. You can adjust them depending on what you got. And for $5, you can't go wrong. I'd get a set of each, and that's pretty much what I have here. And I'm going to be able to play with these to my heart's content, and I'm going to take them on and off all day long, and I'm not going to be machining a thing. So go forth.
Do you love guns? Hi, Gene Kelly here, and I've always been passionate about firearms. I started gunsmithing and went to gunsmithing school when I was just 18. I've been a professional gunsmith for over 40 years now, and I'm a licensed Class II manufacturer. I've been teaching gunsmithing since 1993. Now, we started the Gunsmithing Club of America 15 years ago to create a place where people who shared our passion, both professionals and hobbyists, could find reliable, trusted information on real-world gunsmithing. We wanted to provide a place where our instructors could continuously teach our members, where both hobbyists and professional gunsmiths could share their experience and learn from each other. It's to be a trusted community with reliable information. We knew that it would be an extremely powerful resource and tool to preserve our gunsmithing knowledge, provide our members with an enjoyable experience, and as a place that actually protects our firearms freedoms by keeping our guns functioning properly. As a member of the GCA, you'll have access to over 400 hours of gunsmithing instruction and techniques on video, all by qualified instructors who are masters in the field. You will receive our monthly Gun Tech video magazine and print magazine. Plus, the GCA members' website contains almost 200 extremely detailed firearm disassembly and reassembly video courses, hundreds of product reviews, firearms evaluations, and industry interviews. The Gunsmithing Club of America is a one-of-a-kind organization. There's no other club or group specifically dedicated to the art, craft, and profession of gunsmithing. As a hobbyist or a professional, you'll find that this is your source for the knowledge you need. So feed your passion about guns and gunsmithing by being a member in a community of like-minded individuals. If this sounds like you, join us today.